Yawm al-Akhir, when we say the last day and our belief in the last day, and we're speaking now for the premise of Aqidah, for the premise of theology, then this actually includes everything from the point of death forward. Everything from the point of death forward into the hereafter. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Every soul shall taste death. It starts here, when the angel of the soul comes to extract the soul from the body. It includes the events of the grave. It includes the resurrection. It includes the events of the last day. It includes the reckoning. It includes the bridge over the fire of hell. And ultimately, it includes paradise and hell. All these events are included inside belief in the last day. We follow? Okay. Why is belief in the last day relative to our practice now? When is it going to occur? When is the last day going to be?
We don't know.
We don't know. I mean, right? You went to sleep yesterday, you woke up, wasn't it? The day before that, you woke up, it wasn't. So why is it relative? Maybe we'll live all of our days and it won't be the last day. Possible. That was the case for our parents and our grandparents and so on and so forth. So how is that even relative to our practice?
Because your deeds stop.
Go ahead.
When you die, your deeds stop.
When you die, your deeds stop. Good. Follow that thought. Keep going.
You can't do any more deeds at all.
You can't do any more good deeds.
Mm-hmm. And you can't do any more good deeds, and your reckoning starts. Your questioning in the grave starts.
Your questioning starts. Your reckoning starts in the grave. That's true. That's true. Okay, good. We may not know when the last day is going to be. And it actually benefits us that we do not know when the last day is going to be, because it encourages us to prepare for that. Because we don't know when the last day is going to be for everyone, and we definitely do not know when the last day is going to be for us as individuals. You follow? This is the test. Our Lord is testing us. You follow? For this reason, we have the statement of Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, that comes in Al-Bukhari, and we just stated, وَارْتَحَلَتِ الدُّنْيَا مُدْبِرَةٍ وَارْتَحَلَتِ الْآخِرَةُ مُقْبِلَةٍ وَلِكُلِّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُمَا بَنُونَ. The life of this world is constantly moving further and further away from us. Yet the hereafter is constantly coming closer and closer to us. And each one of the two of them has its children. You follow? Like this world has its children, and the hereafter has its children as well. فَكُونُوا مِنَ أَبْنَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ أَبْنَاءِ الدُّنْيَا. So be children of the hereafter, and do not be children of the life of this world. فَإِنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَمَلٌ وَلَا حِسَابٌ وَغَدًا حِسَابٌ وَلَا عَمَلٌ. For certainly today you put forth action, however you will not be taken into account. Yet tomorrow you will be taken into account, but there will be no more actions. This is why this is relative. Our belief in it, understanding it. There is accountability in Islam. You follow? Meaning, it is as Umar, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, has stated, حَاسِبُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تُحَاسَبُوا. Take your own selves to account before you are taken to account. You follow? So when we understand the last day and we believe in it properly, we will begin to assess our own selves introspectively as well as retrospectively, so that we can improve ourselves in the here and the now, so that we can correct our misgivings now, so that we are prepared for the meeting with our Lord. You follow this? As it was stated about one of the ancient Muslims, Mansur ibn Zadan, it was said about him that if the angel of death were to come to his door, he would not have had an increase in action. He would not have had an increase in action. What does that mean? Meaning that Mansur ibn Zadan, it was something that was known in, or at least understood about him, that he had done everything that was within his power to possibly prepare for the angel of death. So that if the angel of death had come to him in that moment, he would have been prepared to pass. Is that our state? Is this how we really are? Think about it. And think about what we should be doing and where we should be. You follow? And we know the answers. Sometimes we just need a little push and encouragement. Does this make sense? Okay. So, Jibreel alayhi salam, he asked the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنِ السَّاعَةِ, inform me about the hour. The hour here means what? Yawm al-Qiyamah, Yawm al-Akhir, the day of account, the day of standing, the day of benefit from Sheikh Hall, right? From almost 10 years ago. The day of standing. We have the day of resurrection, right? Okay. When the Prophet ﷺ is asked this question, his response is what? What does he say? The one being questioned about this does not have more knowledge than the questioner. Why is that relative? Why is that a powerful statement?
Neither one of them really knows.
Only Allah knows? Neither one of them knows? Correct. Good. What the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is saying is, he is saying that only Allah knows. What we want to extract from this now is, how is it that he is saying that only Allah knows by way of this statement? How is he saying that? The one being asked does not have more knowledge about this than the questioner. Right. You have the best of the creation there. The best of all humanity is who? The Messenger of Allah. The best of all the angels is who? Jibreel alayhi salam. Who has more status with Allah than the two of them? Who is more beloved than Allah than the two of them? Who has more knowledge concerning our Lord and what he has decreed for us than the two of them? So if the two of them do not have knowledge of this, and they are the elite, right? They are them Delacrim, or however that statement is stated. We misstated it, right? Allahumma musta'an. If they don't have knowledge of this, then definitely those who are of better stature than them cannot have knowledge of this. You follow? None has knowledge of this in the creation that they don't have knowledge. You follow that? Okay. Good. So then Jibreel alayhi salam, he then forwards another question to him, and he states, فَأَخْبِرْنِي عَنْ أَمَرَاتِهَا, inform me about its signs. Meaning that we may not know when the day of resurrection is going to occur, but it does have signs. And if you are familiar with its signs, then you can get a general feel of where you may be on that timeline and how much you may be needing to expedite your preparation for its coming, and or preparing the next generation for its coming. For definitely those who are after you will be closer to it than you if you live without seeing it. Does this make sense? Okay. Now, concerning the signs of the hour, the signs of the hour are divided into two types. The two types of signs of the hour are what?
Major and minor.
Major and minor. Good. What is the difference between the major and the minor signs? What's unique about these and what's unique about those? We've heard about this before. There's a book in English that came out maybe in the 90s, a thin book by Ibn Kathir called The Signs of the Hour, anybody recall? Right, the early 90s, something like this, right? Had a picture of the earth, and the earth was kind of like cracking, ready to explode. You remember? Right? So we're familiar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's pull out our memory from 20 years ago. All right, let's go. Okay. Difference between major and minor signs. What's the difference?
Is it that the minor can occur and constantly reoccur, and the major can only happen once?
Okay, good. So our brother Naeem is saying that the minor can occur, and in its occurrence can be reoccurring, whilst the major will occur only once. Okay, we can start with that. Anyone else? Yes.
Major is
The major is closer to that appointment than the minor. That's true. That is true. Yep. Hold on. You cannot become Muslim after the... I hope so. I hope you can. Type. Hold on.
The majors are unique in what they are and kind of specific, so you know exactly what they are.
Mhm.
The minors are in general, so
Mhm.
you can kind of fit you're seeing it,
Yes.
and it could be, and it may not be.
It could be and it may not be. Okay, excellent, excellent. With regards to the minor signs, the minor signs, they occur sporadically throughout time. Right? Some may happen here, some may happen over there, and they're not necessarily connected one to the other with the minor signs, right? They just occur whenever they occur, right? For example, what is something that is from the minor signs? Give us something. Huh? High buildings. Tayyib. Huh? False prophets. Tayyib. Okay. Huh? Floods. Okay. These are minor signs. And these items that you all have mentioned, they're not necessarily connected one to the other. You follow? And these are things that may happen anytime between the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the major signs. With regard to the major signs, interestingly enough, once the first major sign occurs, the remaining major signs will occur, and one of them will overlap the other. You follow? So, if you consider the Mahdi to be the first major sign, the Mahdi appears. Then whilst the Mahdi is present, then the Dajjal will emerge. You follow? And then while the Dajjal is present, then the Isa descends over. Then while Isa is present, then Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, then they will come, one over the other, until ultimately the sun rises from the west, or the beast emerges from outside of it. Now, whichever one of those two occur first, then it's the last. You follow? Okay. So these are the major and the minor signs. This particular portion of the hadith Jibril is speaking to the major or minor signs? Speaking to the minor signs. Good. So, now that we understand this, we move forward. Jibril alayhi salam, he tells him, inform me about its signs. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam instead says what to him? Good. They will compete in the construction of tall, lofty buildings. That's stated. Before that, he said what? Intended an amatu rabbataha. Good. When the maidservant will give birth to her master. What does that mean? That the child will no longer listen to its mother. But the ancient Muslims, they would say, La adri nisf al-ilm. Saying I don't know is half of knowledge. And by saying you don't know, Allah will grant you knowledge of that which you do not know. However, if you feign knowledge of what you do not know, then your Lord may not grant you knowledge of that which you do not know. So to say that you don't know something, this is actually a lofty statement, and it's not something that is deplorable or demeaning. So when the maidservant gives birth to its master, we're going to look at some of the words of Ibn Rajab, rahimahullah ta'ala. May Allah bestow expansive mercy upon the soul concerning this particular matter before we go into some brief and further commentary. Ibn Rajab, who passed in what year? Who passed in what year? 793. 793 plus 2 minus 1. Okay, 795. He passes the year 795 after the Hijrah. And in that regard, he states here in commenting on the specific narration of the Hadith of Jibreel that comes on the authority of Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah's narration. the primary narration of the hadith of Jibreel is the narration of Umar, but there are other narrations as well. He is commenting on Abu Hurairah's narration. If anyone actually has the work, Al-Lu'lu' wal-Marjan, the translation of that would be corals and pearls, I believe it is. After you get past the initial narrations, من كذب عليه متعمدا في تبوأ مقعده من النار, whoever lies upon me intentionally, then his feet will be sitting for him in the fire of hell. After those, right, 4 or 5 hadith, then the first hadith you're going to come to is going to be the hadith of Jibreel, but it's going to be the narration of Abu Hurairah. And there are some important variances there, because Abu Hurairah is giving his account of that particular event, whilst Umar was giving his account. We're more familiar with Umar's account, but there were other companions there. And you can put together a broader perspective when you look at all the narrations of the companions. But in any regard, Ibn Rajab here is commenting on the narration of Abu Hurairah at this juncture in his explanation of the hadith of Jibreel. And he states that this is actually an implication of the conquests over varying lands, of the Muslims having victory over varying lands throughout the earth. This is speaking to the expansion of Islam throughout the known world at that time. And in that expansion, people's coming into indentured servitude, right? People's coming into indentured servitude throughout that. And these peoples who are coming into indentured servitude and are being owned by whoever their owners may be, there will begin to be many peoples in this state of indentured servitude, and they will bear many children from the owners who are free. We follow? So, because of this, eventually it will be the case that a mother will be enslaved, or a mother will be enslaved, and she will be owned by the one that enslaved her, and will have children with that one that owns her in that enslavement or in that indentured servitude. However, the children that come from this relationship are considered to be free. Are considered to be free. So then the free child has the same status as the owner. So then it is as though the child becomes a master over the mother. Right? This is one meaning. Right? This is one meaning. And he offers some other interesting meanings. Another meaning that he mentions here is that in the same scenario, you have an owner, you have an indentured servant, they have children together. As you stated, the child in that relationship is free. Yes, it's free. So then, when the father passes, the inheritance goes to the child. The inheritance goes to the child. And then, by way of that inheritance, right? By way of that inheritance, the child then frees the mother, right? This is one perspective. Yet another perspective is that when the owner, or in this case the father, passes, the mother automatically becomes free. The mother automatically becomes free as a part of that inheritance, and because the son is free, and it is not proper for the son to own the mother. So as a default, if the owner passes, then the mother automatically becomes free. Right? These are different perspectives, right, on that. Because I see that there's some interest here, let's open this up just a little bit further, and we won't go too far into this topic. So the concept of slavery does exist in Islam. It's not something that we run from. And our concept of slavery or indentured servitude, it tends to be pegged on what occurred in this particular country and throughout the transatlantic, right, slave trade. And as a result of that, we're experiencing what we're experiencing now, post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? We're going through that and trying to work through all of that now. Okay, fine. We understand the Western slants on that, we'll say. What is the Islamic understanding of why that would even occur? In Islam, how would it occur that a person is entered into slavery, entered into indentured servitude? How does that even happen?
Using war.
War, jihad? A debt? A debt? Someone else? Anyone else? Our sisters? How does that happen in Islam? Sold off from somewhere else? Okay. So, the first thing we need to mention is this. That during the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, backwards, slavery was not an uncommon phenomenon. It's something that existed in many different societies, right? You'll find it in European culture. You'll find it in Indian culture. You'll find it in African culture. You find it in Arabian culture. You find that it existed. You find that it existed. You follow? With the transatlantic slave trade, it was unique in that this was one of the first times where it was utilized purely for profit and purely for increase in power and purely levied against the empowerment of one race to the demise of another, right? The transatlantic slave trade was unique in that particular way, right? Prior to that, what was commonplace would be, for example, war. We're not speaking Islam yet. Would be war. Would be debt. Someone is in debt and they need to work the debt out, so they go into an indentured service. People were criminals. They violated the laws of the society, so they were entered into this state of slavery. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like this. You follow? In different nations. You follow? And we'll leave that. We won't go too far into that type of history. But that's what it was. Now, in Islam, though, it was a little bit different. How did it occur in Islam? There were wars, yes, but every time there was a war in Islam, there was always indentured servitude every single time? No, it wasn't the case every single time. So what would happen when this would occur in Islam? Ransom them? Yes? Had to treat them the same? Type.
As you would want to be treated.
As you would like to be treated? That's true.
War prisoners, right?
Huh?
War prisoners, right?
War prisoners? Yes. But why? Yes, but why? In Islam. Good. To give them a chance to enter into Islam. Good.
Educational purposes, like for example.
Educational purposes.
I'll release the slave to teach a couple of the Muslims how to read or write.
Okay, good. Now, follow this. We offer you a benefit from a Sheikh Ali Nasser al-Faqih. May Allah preserve him, one of the teachers in the Prophet. He mentioned to us something interesting. In that, our Lord gives us free will. We have the power to fulfill the purpose of life that the Lord has chosen for us, or to not. We have that choice. Likewise, the jinn, they have the choice, yes? Okay. The individual who chooses to fulfill that purpose in life, they become from the highest and from the best of the creation, as our Lord intended for us when He created our father Adam and ordered all of the angels to prostrate to him because of the status that our Lord is giving to humanity. We follow this? When the servant chooses to ignore or to neglect or to oppose or to combat that purpose in life and go against that, then the person becomes from the lowest of the creation. Hence, the reward for those who fulfill that purpose is in paradise, which is high and lofty. And the recompense for those who choose other than, right, ultimately, is the fire of hell, which is very low. Yes? Okay. The understanding is this. If the Muslims are engaged in this type of fighting, and this type of fighting that we're speaking about in the offensive set, it actually doesn't exist today, because the conditions for it don't exist today. We don't need to go into those details at this time, but it doesn't. If anyone is engaged in offensive jihad in this age of ours, then it's not really jihad, okay? All that being stated, when the Muslims engage in offensive jihad, we are fighting for religious freedom. That's what that is. We are fighting for religious freedom. We are fighting for the right of every human being to have access to the truth and to choose the truth for themselves. We are fighting for humanity to have direct access to their Lord uninhibited. That's what that is. Right? It's not about land, it's not about wealth, it's not about race, it's not about nationality, it's not about any of those things. You follow? It is religious freedom and giving the right to every human being to know what the truth is, to know what your Lord wants from you, and then to choose what you would like to do with that for yourself. That's what that is. So much so that the Muslim is willing to sacrifice his or her life so that other humans can have access to that choice, access to that knowledge, access to that revelation. That's what that is. We follow? Okay. So, there are different things that take place in the offensive jihad type. But if those who the conquest is against, if they do not opt for some of the prior options that are available for engagement, right, of the fighting, then they make a choice. And they have chosen for themselves, in their theology, in their aqidah, to be the lowest of the creation. They have chosen this for themselves. So because they have chosen it for themselves, our Lord then places them on the lowest level of society. That's what that is. Does that make sense? With the understanding that they are under the care, they are under the direction of those people who are on the highest level of society, and who are fulfilling the purpose of life. So that those people, the Muslims, can then engage these people with the goal of bringing them into the proper theology, the correct purpose in life. And at the point that they are brought into that purpose of life, then the goal becomes to what? The indentured servants, they embrace Islam. The goal now is free them. Free them. Because they have freed their souls. So because they have freed their souls from the bondage of shirk, from the bondage of kufr, from the bondage of disobedience, now they need to be physically free from bondage in society. Does this make sense? Okay. And this is why we find so many encouragements throughout the text of the Quran, throughout the text of the Hadith, to free slaves. You find it all throughout the text. In fact, there are certain sins that are committed in our faith that the first thing to do to expiate yourself from that sin is free a slave. Islam actually encourages people being free and encourages anybody who is enslaved to be free from enslavement. This is where we're going. We follow that? Even there are certain deeds that we perform that even though it's not freeing a slave, the reward for it is as though you have freed a slave. It's as though you have freed 10 slaves. It's as though you have freed 100 slaves. To put it in the mindset of the people, that people should be free. Does this make sense? Okay. So, in any regard, and moving forward, so this explains one perspective on what it means that when the maidservant gives birth to her master. Another meaning is that this is showing that wealth will increase in abundance amongst the people. The other sign as we come closer to a close, inshallah ta'ala, the other sign that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned as well. when ترى الحفاة الرعاة العالة العشاء تتولون في البنيان. And when you see the barefoot, poor shepherds competing with one another in the construction of tall buildings, right? And this one is pretty straightforward. We can summarize this simply by saying that during the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was uncommon, generally speaking, in the world, for there to be very tall edifices. This is something that really didn't exist. So for the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say that at that particular time, it was something that was peculiar to say, something that was odd. Well, we don't really have that. Well, when is that going to be? And what is it going to look like? But of course, we fast forward to the time we're in now, and not only do we see peoples who were once poor becoming wealthy, right? We see the rags to riches story all the time now. Yes or no? Okay. We see that. We also see the construction of very tall buildings, right? Amongst the people within a nation. But even the nation themselves, right? Almost all first world countries, and even now some countries that are considered to be quote unquote third world countries, everybody has the tallest building in the world. And everybody's competing with this. Everybody has this claim. You follow? Okay. So he states this. And the hadith goes on. Umar states, فانطلق فلبثت مليا ثم قال يا عمر تدري من السائل قلت الله ورسوله أعلم قال إنه جبريل أتاك يعلمكم دينكم. So he departed. He hears who? Jibreel. Good. And I remained for a period of time. In another narration, we remained for a period of time. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam even states, do you know who the questioner was? I said, Allah and His Messenger knows best. He then said, certainly that was Jibreel, and he came to you all to teach you all your religion. We're going to look at this very briefly because the time of Maghrib is upon. That is the narration of Muslim. In the narration of Abu Dawood, as well as Tirmidhi, it mentions that he remained for a period of 3 days, meaning that 3 days had elapsed, and then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came back to him and asked him this question. Do you know who the questioner was? You follow? So that's in this narration, but you have in the narration of Abu Hurairah that we spoke about earlier, and Abu Hurairah's narration comes to Bukhari and Muslim. It's muttafaqun alayhi, it's agreed upon. In that narration, it mentions that he departed. And when he departed, the Prophet ﷺ told the companions to go out and go bring him back. Go bring him back. And then the companions went to go get him, and he was gone. Good. So there seems to be a bit of a disparity between the narration of Abu Hurairah and Umar. So in Abu Hurairah's narration, he's saying that they went out to get him and bring him back, and he was gone. In Umar's narration, he's saying that he left in a period of 3 days passed, and then the Prophet ﷺ asked them, do you know who the questioner was? You follow? But and also in Abu Hurairah's narration, when they went out to get him and they couldn't find him, the Prophet ﷺ asked them, do you know who the questioner was? So which one is it? Is it that he departed and they went by the way to go get him, or did 3 days pass before the Prophet ﷺ asked this question? Which scenario is it? We understand the disparity that we're...
It could be both.
It could be both? Okay, good. How could it be both?
Well, he could have told them to go get them, gave them 3 days to find them.
Right.
And he didn't find them in 3 days, asked them at that point, do you know who it was?
Good.
He didn't say, okay, this is Jibreel, he can't teach you today.
Good. And in fact, right, this is correct. In the narration of Abu Hurairah, when Jibreel went off, the Prophet ﷺ told them immediately, those companions that were there, to go out and get him and bring him back. They did so, and he was gone. The understanding in the narration of Umar is that before this point, Umar must have left. He must have left before this point in the narration. You follow? and a few days passed, and then the Prophet ﷺ came back to him and asked him, do you know what the question was? The same way that he asked the question to the remainder of the companions before who were present at the time. You follow? Okay. So, he states Allah and His Messenger knows best, meaning that I don't know, meaning that knowledge is with revelation, meaning that this is knowledge of the unseen, and only Allah has knowledge of the unseen, and He conveys that knowledge to whoever He wills. We don't normally have knowledge of that unless Allah reveals it to us, and if Allah is revealing it to us, it's coming to us by way of revelation, by way of the prophets and the messengers. You follow? So it says in it, hitherto He says, Allah and His Messenger know best. This was said commonly during the life of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he was actively receiving revelation. Not that he had knowledge of the unseen, but Allah would reveal certain portions of knowledge of the unseen to him, so they would say Allah and His Messenger know best. But then after the passing of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they then began to say, Allahu a'lam, Allah knows best. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not living anymore, he does not continue to receive that revelation. Does this make sense? Okay. Then he closed it, he states, certainly that was Jibreel, and he came to teach you your religion, meaning that Islam, meaning that Iman, meaning that Ihsan, meaning that this, in essence, is the whole of the religion. And this particular hadith, it is also called Sunnah. It is called the mother of the Sunnah. The same way that Al-Fatiha is called Al-Quran, the mother of the Quran. We'll close with this. Why is Al-Fatiha called Quran, the mother of the Quran? Good. Every verse that is within the Fatiha, there's some representation of it throughout the remaining 113 chapters of the Quran. Excellent. The term here means marja'. It means that which other than it returns back to it. Right? That's the meaning. So all of the meanings of the Quran return back to Al-Fatiha can be found and implicated inside of Al-Fatiha. In the same fashion, with the Hadith of Jibreel, all of the Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and their meanings can be included inside of the Hadith of Jibreel and can be implicated by way of or within the Hadith of Jibreel. Hence it is called Sunnah, Sunnah, the mother of the Sunnah. So, with this, we would like to close. The time of Maghrib is upon us. We hope that there's some benefit inside, something that we shared. We ask Allah to grant us sincerity. We ask Allah that He makes us those that He is pleased with. We ask Allah that He grants us the good of this life, the good of the hereafter, and He protects us from the fire of hell.